inconvenience.
Right. Meanwhile, we thought the major story today was going to be border security, and it still remains in terms of a crisis. Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador have their people just streaming, mostly Honduras right now, through our borders, overwhelming our systems. And even you had Jeh Johnson over the weekend, former Homeland Security Secretary under Barack Obama, said, no doubt about it, this is a crisis. The question is, will Democrats acknowledge it's a crisis and help change some laws that could change things right away?
The president is talking about shutting down the border between the United States and Mexico and cutting funding for those three countries, for Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras. Let's bring in Geraldo Rivera, Fox News correspondent at large. Geraldo, good morning to you.
Hi, Ainsley.
Hi. So the president tweeted out this. He says the Democrats are allowing a ridiculous asylum system and major loopholes to remain as a mainstay of our immigration system. Mexico is likewise doing nothing. A very bad combination for our country. Homeland Security is being so very nice, but not for long. What do you think about that, cutting funding from those countries?
Well, first of all, I'm just back from the worst timed vacation in broadcast history. I wish I was here last week to gloat with you all about the collusion illusion. There is an emergency at the border. I think that the Democrats would adopt that word if the president had not said it first. The people under this underpass have now, we are told, been taken by the federal authorities to a more humane holding area. But there is no doubt, Jeh Johnson is right, there is this crisis at the border. The question is what you do about it. You know, it's easy to be compassionate and it's easy to be outraged at these scenes, but the question is, what is the solution? The president now has said he's going to take the draconian step of closing the border, the entire border, including the ports of entry. Yep. That would be enormously disruptive on both sides of the border. Businesses will suffer millions and millions of dollars in lost revenue. I think it will be even more chaos than we have now in terms of cutting off all aid to the affected countries in Central America. See, you know, I've said on this program before that I think the key to the border lies in the home countries of these desperate people, desperately poor people. We have to improve the conditions in their country so they don't make this dangerous trek and flood over our borders, disrupting everything and upsetting everyone.
Here is Jeh Johnson over the weekend, just saying something that a lot of Democrats are going to have a tough time running away from. Listen.
By anyone's definition, by any measure, right now we have a crisis at our southern border. According to the commissioner of CBP, there were 4,000 apprehensions in one day alone this past week, and we're on pace for 100,000 apprehensions on our southern border this month. That is by far a greater number than anything I saw on my watch in my 3 years as Secretary of Homeland Security.
Well, he's absolutely right. It is desperate and getting worse. For some reason, the population of Central America is emptying out. People are rushing desperately through the nation of Mexico, and therein lies the president's prime frustration. Why isn't Mexico doing anything to stop people who are transiting across Mexico? It's one thing to say, okay, come on, here's a bus, we'll get you to the U.S. border, but there must be some responsibility in the new government in the Republic of Mexico where they have to stop this trespassing on their own national territory. I think there needs to be a summit right now between the President of the United States, the President of the Republic of Mexico, and of the affected Central American nations you have cited, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras. They've got to get them in the same room and say, listen, you have a responsibility to your own citizens. This is not the answer to your problems. You can't send all of your problems to us. Mexico must do something to stop this transiting. I understand his frustration. I just urge prudence when it comes to these harshest blows, like closing the border, will affect so many innocent people, so many legitimate, legal people that I don't think it's worth it.
Well, I think you're right. I think he's talking tough just to get him to the table. That would be great. Let's see what happens there. Meanwhile.